Hello, welcome to the BHM first year course of Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. I'm Dr. Indrajit Bose and I shall be your course coordinator for this session. This paper that we are discussing at the moment is entitled Business Communication with the paper code of BHM N102. In this paper, we have been looking at the various kinds of communication, the nature and functions, as well as the different modes of communication, both written and spoken in English, that you will have to practice in the workplace. I think that all of you are doing this course with the expectation that in a few years' time, on completion of the course, you will be joining the healthcare and the hospital industry. Now, once you join over there, you will have to perform various administrative functions on a day-to-day basis. In performing these functions, you will be, of course, using English, both written and spoken. So we are taking a look at these kinds of workplace uses of English in this particular paper in business communication. This lecture is lecture 5 in the series from module 3, and it is based on preparing posters and publicity material. In the course of this lecture, we shall take a look at why you need to advertise your hospital, what are the ways in which we will boost the publicity of your hospital and health services, and how you will create different kinds of publicity and promotional materials, including posters, banners, flyers, newsletters, and pamphlets. Now, the first thing that comes to our mind is why we need to advertise at all. If you are working in a large hospital or a large multi-speciality hospital, does not the hospital speak for itself? Or do not the nature of the health services prove their own genuineness or their worth? Well, of course, they do. And certainly you are providing quality service and you're trying to serve the people and your patients through the kinds of services that you provide. And certainly the patients who are happy or those who have satisfaction from the services you provide will spread the news about the hospital by word of mouth to other people, their relatives, other patients, and so you will get a good flow of patients coming in who hear about the hospital by reputation. However, in spite of that, we need to advertise very much. This is the age of competition, and there is intense competition even among the healthcare providers in the healthcare sector. So you will find that the several large multi-speciality hospitals are all competing for patients and for services. So you do need to advertise. And we have looked at social media and the public channels of media in advertising. The other kind of advertisement which you can do is through posters, banners, flyers, and other kinds of simple adverts displayed in public spaces. So we are going to take a look at this kind of advertising in today's lecture. Now, obviously, if you do not speak up for your hospital, who will? That's the starting point. So you are trying to create a brand image for your hospital. And just like your advertisements in the public media, which are circulated over there, or when you post talk shows or you give live updates on Facebook or Twitter about your hospital, definitely you are trying to create a brand image also if you design posters and flyers or pamphlets and circulate among people. So creating a brand image for your hospital is the first and foremost thing which you have to strive for and you have to keep in mind. Now, through the ad campaign, when you are designing posters, flyers, and circulating among people, or you're designing newsletter and circulating periodically among your clientele, you are trying to impinge or create an image in people's mind about your hospital that it is a quality healthcare services provider. And you have to boost and sustain that image in various ways. I'm sure you can understand that this is quite a challenging task, but you have to be equal to the task and you have to highlight the quality of the services that you are providing. Now, what are you going to talk about in this promotional literature that you design? First of all, you have to talk about the facilities that you provide. All the facilities of your hospital through pictures, photographs, and descriptions in text, you have to talk about them. Then again, you often talk about diseases, the ways of preventing these diseases through illustrated diagrams or picture sequences. Also, try to boost or raise people's awareness about health issues by designing posters. These posters help by reaching out to large numbers of people. A poster is the easiest thing to circulate. You can hand them out to people. You can drop or have a door-to-door poster distribution campaign in people's letter boxes. And you can hand it out to your patients once they come to visit you. You can drop a copy with the folder or with the bill or receipt when your patients come in their OPD. You can display them on bulletin boards. You can display them in public spaces. So you can reach out through these promotional pamphlets, posters, newsletters to large numbers of people. So they are an extremely convenient way of campaigning about your hospital. Now, obviously, the first thing that you will talk about in these posters is your hospital. So you can include a photograph of your hospital or photographs of your hospital and your facilities, like your diagnostic center, your OPD, your trauma care center, emergency care, other kinds of services. So have your pictures and snapshots of the facilities ready with you so that you can place them in prominent places in your posters and other promotional material. Also, your doctors, your caregivers like nurses, other health service providers. So you need to have pictures, drawings, snapshots of them as well. You are providing quality and world-class standards in healthcare. So again, you talk about your standards and the quality services that you provide. Also, the range of options and facilities that you are giving to your patients. Give them some idea about the huge range of options that you are providing. Also, the fact that you are providing healthcare, not only emergency services 24/7, but also you are providing care and compassion. So this compassionateness that you are giving in your services or the care that you take of your patients, this will be a tremendous plus point in your favor in people's idea and estimation about your services. Again, the fact that you provide fast service, prompt service, you are ready to tackle any kind of medical emergency, and that you are reliable, you are a reliable services provider, this will again carry weight with people. So again, these are factors, the speed, efficiency of your service, the reliability to stress with in your promotional literature. And finally, the commitment that you have in the long term, serving the people through your medical facilities and healthcare. This is going to carry the greatest weight and it will carry the most lasting impression in people's minds about your hospital. So try to stress these features that you have good facilities, you maintain world-class standards, you provide a wide range of services and different options to people to choose from. You serve with care and compassion. You provide fast and reliable service, and you have long-term commitment to people and your patients. Now, we are going to take a full look at the range of different promotional materials. So we are going to begin with posters first. Now, a poster is a designed promotional sheet with picture, graphics, and text, or perhaps only text. A poster may equally be hand-drawn as well as hand-illustrated, or it can be designed using web design tools and printed in Photoshop or something else. It can be in color or else in black and white. Now, where is the poster displayed after it is prepared? As you can see in this picture, there is a poster which contains very bold text. That picture is displayed very prominently in a bulletin board. It's like a framed picture. So posters can be displayed in prominent places, public places, like at the city center, at airports, railway stations, bus terminuses, and so on. So they are the places where large numbers of people congregate. People keep coming and going from different locations to these places, and they keep moving on. So they are going to capture the attention of large numbers of people who keep coming and going or shifting. So naturally, these would be very prominent places where to display them. Again, in the neighborhood of your hospital, in glass doorways and walls, these posters can be displayed. And of course, they can be displayed in notice and bulletin boards, also in newspapers. So the basic point is that posters need to be displayed in prominent places in order to capture people's attention and interest. If they are not displayed in prominent places, they will not capture people's attention. So prepare the poster well, design the poster well, and highlight it by placing it in a prominent place where it captures people's attention. Now, how to create the poster in the first place? The size of the poster can be small, around 12 inches by 6 inches, or much bigger, like 30 inches by 25 inches. It can be even bigger than that. You can have an A4 size sheet with a poster, or you can have a much larger A3 size even. Now, materials that are used can be chart paper or some other kind of art paper, even handmade paper, and sketch pen or pen and ink, watercolor, paints, colored paper or cutouts for pasting, and pictures, photographs, printouts, diagrams, drawings. So the pictures speak even louder than words. So including pictures in the posters is extremely useful and good. And we need to include suggestive pictures together with text that captures people's attention in the posters. Now let's look at the way that posters can be designed. Now, once you have thought out the idea of the poster, you see the idea or thinking out of the box in having an idea which will click or which will go with the picture is very important. So once you have thought out the idea, insert or create the appropriate picture to illustrate the idea. Then insert the appropriate captions or text, or insert a tagline. Like in a general poster about water conservation, there can be save water, save life. There can be a tagline. Here, for example, if you are having a blood donation campaign, you can say donate blood save lives. So that can be a tagline for a poster. Again, choose the suitable font size for the poster and suitable fonts also. It should be fairly large because it is for public display in prominent places. So it should never be so small that I have difficulty in reading the poster. So the font needs to be fairly large and prominent size so as to come within people's attention. Again, suitable color schemes need to be used. For water conservation, I can choose blue as the theme color. For blood donation, I can choose red as the theme color. Like here, for example, there are some posters which are designed. So one is telling about the facilities at the hospital and various other kinds of facilities. And the second one is talking about mother and child care or baby care. So that has got hand-drawn illustrations. And so also this poster has got hand-drawn illustrations. But there can be photographs also. Now we can have a lot of posters about the facilities which are there in hospitals. Now, obviously, there are different kinds of posters. So we can have posters about the facilities which are there in hospitals. Like, for example, these posters. So in one of them, we have the posters talking about the trauma center or the traumatology department, first aid and bandaging. So different facilities are spoken about in this poster. Again, the second one, we care for your health. Again, it's talking about the facilities provided by the hospital, and they are also described in the text over there, and there are different sections into which it is divided. Again, another one, we have the third one here. It's talking about heart care, eye protection, creating and different kinds of investigation, treatments, and so on. So all the facilities, they are in bulleted points, and it's talking about these different facilities blow by blow. And then another one is about the hospital and its operative care or facilities. So posters about the facilities which are there in the hospital is the easiest way to advertise or to talk about the hospital. Now there can be also another type of poster which try to educate the patients or people about various aspects of healthcare, diseases, preventive care, and so on. Like, for example, these patient education posters. The first one is talking about dental hygiene and dental health. Okay, and second one is also talking about how to prevent tooth decay. So there are different points that are given. So it's a kind of a list which is given to people to fight tooth decay. And third one is talking about health tips for older adults. Again, there are some pointers which are given. So again, that's an illustrated guide, okay, for elderly people. So these are some posters which are trying to educate the people about different aspects of healthcare, diseases, and so on. There can also be public message posters or posters which are displayed in prominent places, like, for example, here the posters are talking about different locations or asking people to do different things, like it's showing the location of the waiting room. Yes, it's talking about the waiting room. Again, the poster here, the first one, the second one below, it's talking about the signs and symptoms of Ebola virus. Here, the third poster is giving the message that the delivery boy is not allowed inside the premises. And the fourth one is talking about the hand hygiene or how to wash hands. And the last one is talking about not smoking. Again, you can see that it is displayed in a prominent place. So there are different kinds of public messages. Stop smoking. Do not enter. So different kinds of public messages which can also be displayed through posters. So this gives us some idea regarding the wide variety of posters that we can have. Now I would like to go and discuss about banners. Now obviously banners are much larger in size compared to posters, so they can be around 10 foot by 6 foot or even larger than that. Now the content of the banner would generally be some public event, for example, like the opening of the new wing of the hospital, or it can be about some medical event like a conference. Now, the materials from which banners are made include polythene, plastics, and cloth. Or else, banners can be designed with graphic design tools and printed on polythene or on cloth. Okay? So, machine designed banners are quite common nowadays. Now, the content part in the banner would include the following: the heading or headline, some text or description, images, and the logo of the organization. So, in the hospital where you are working, you obviously have got some logo over there. So, having the logo in the banner is very important. Like, for example, here you have the banner, you can see it is displayed very prominently in front of the building of the hospital. And here you have three folding display boards, okay, or standees as they are known as, where again the banner is about advertising of the hospital and its services. You can see that is spoken about there. Apart from posters and banners, there can also be flyers. Now, what is a flyer? It's a small ad sheet which is around 5 inches by 3 inches, or it can be slightly smaller than that. Often it can be narrow and a thin strip, a narrow strip of cardboard or paper. Often these flyers are printed on glossy paper or art paper. They have got usually a very bright color scheme, and pictures and photos figure very prominently in them. They also include text, of course, but the pictures are very important in the flyers because they are kind of illustrated handsheets. Now, they can be prepared by hand, but usually they are not. Flyers are usually printed. Now, the content is the content about the hospital facilities, and it includes also health tips or safety tips and information about treatment. So these are some of the areas which are covered in flyers. Now, what about pamphlets? Pamphlets are small sized folders or sheets of around 3 inches by 2 inches. Now, a pamphlet can be a single sheet, or it can be divided into a sheet which is folded in 3 folds. It can be a small folding sheet in 3 folds or 2 folds. Now, the design of the pamphlet is such that we have the picture of the hospital, maybe, for example, or some other kind of picture on the first fold. Then we have the text and the pictures in the next fold, and the contact information given at the back of the pamphlet. Now, the pamphlets can contain information like detailed information about hospital facilities, health information guide, patient tips, and so on. So there can be different kinds. Like you can see over here, this is almost like a bulletin, this pamphlet. The second one is like a brochure. And the third one shows the pamphlet in 3 folds. So there are 6 pages actually over there. And you can see that the cover fold carries a picture and the title description of the pamphlet. We also have, of course, newsletters. What is a newsletter? It's a short information and news bulletin about the hospital. Nowadays, of course, we can have e-newsletters as well as physical newsletters. Now, how to design newsletters and what do newsletters contain? Now, the newsletter can be a single page or a double-sided news sheet. It can be in two folds or it can be a three-folding sheet around 10 inches by 6 inches or around A4 size. Now, it will usually have a masthead or title. Like, for example, you see this newsletter has got the title Pulse. Another one has got the title Healthier. The third one is called the newsletter of some hospital, and the date is given. Now, at the top, you will have the masthead or logo of the newsletter and of the organization. We have the place and date of publication, and then we have the pages of the newsletter divided into columns. Now, some of these columns might be highlighted with colored text and so on. Now, there would of course be photos in the various columns. Now, the page layout or design of newspaper can be like that of a magazine or a newspaper. So it's like a miniature newspaper. Now, what can you have as promotional content in newsletters? Now, a newsletter is like a small news booklet or a news sheet, broadsheet, which is periodically distributed to patients in the hospital and to guests and visitors from outside and so on. In this newsletter, I can include content about my hospital and its new facilities and new services. I can also talk about the existing services which I am providing to my patients with photographs. I can also talk in the newsletter, include a column about Doctor Speak, where doctors address the queries given by various patients and other people in the public. I can also have information about new modes of treatment and new machines which have arrived at the hospital. And in this way, I can talk in general about the hospital and its facilities, about healthcare in general, and preventive care, so to prevent various diseases and so on. So this can be the content usually of the newsletter. And I can include a wide range of color photographs about the hospital, and these photographs, of course, will speak for themselves. And the newsletter can be distributed to various people, to patients, to customers, and other people. And the newsletter will speak volumes about the achievement of the hospital and about its quality services which you are providing to the public for a long time to come. So having a newsletter is really a very good promotional exercise. Now, for all these different kinds of promotional materials, one can say that choosing the suitable publicity materials is very, very important. So do you think that you can produce a newsletter? Or if you don't have the required expertise, you can produce a flyer or a pamphlet. But if you don't have provisions for distributing the flyer, then there is no point in producing it. Now, choose something which would be appropriate as publicity material. Then design it properly and add good quality photos. Now, all the photos of the hospital, the healthcare facilities, and so on, the doctors and other people, the providers, should be good quality photographs. If the photographs are not of good quality, they will detract from the quality of your publication. Then also put appropriate text. There should not be text or grammatical mistakes over there, because again they will detract from the quality. Then you place the newsletter or pamphlet or poster or whatever it is you are preparing and put it in prominent and suitable locations. Add eye-capturing details, distribute regularly to people, and provide regular updates over there about your hospital and its services. So let's say you have opened a pharmacology wing. Now, unless you talk about it, how will people learn that what you are doing? So provide regular updates. And after all, these newsletters are means, we can say, of advertising about the hospital and its facilities, and of talking about the services you provide. So we can see that through the creation of posters, pamphlets, banners, flyers, and newsletters and other promotional materials, we can, in a very interesting way, talk about the range and quality of healthcare services that we provide in the large hospital. Now, I think you have to keep in mind that often, as the management professional working in administration in the hospital, you will be entrusted with the responsibility of creating the newsletter. It will be your job to design and to create the newsletter, or to design the poster and the pamphlets, and look after also the distribution. So the creation of these different kinds of promotional material is very important. So you will be designing these, and you will be required to designing these. You will have to choose good quality photographs and have that sort of assistance in editing from other people if they are there in your organization, or else you have to design it yourself. So you need to know something about design templates. And for all these posters, pamphlets, banners, and so on, there are different design templates. With the advent of desktop publishing and different kinds of templates on Microsoft Word, it has become very much possible to design all these pamphlets and newsletters and print them oneself. One need not go to a professional printer to engage quality services in order to uh, get printouts. Often we undertake the printouts ourselves with the help of our photocopier, and we get the suitable paper, whether it is art paper or some other kind of paper, from the preferred locations or stores, and we create our own materials, so to speak. So basically, as a hospital management professional in administration, you will not only have to run your hospital, but you will also have to promote your hospital more and more in different ways to people, so that you can talk about your hospital, people will know about it, and they will spread information and reputation, and spread the reputation of the hospital among other people. Now, you will go a long way towards creating and sustaining the brand image of your hospital in this way. Now, the more you can build up this brand image, the better it will be for your hospital and your organization. And the more you will be able to build up trust and commitment for the hospital. So, designing and creating these promotional materials is of great importance. So you will have to know what sort of materials to design, how to design them, and circulate them appropriately among different people so that they reach of wider cross sections of people, and you can talk about your hospital in a way that people will learn and know more about it, and they will come to you for healthcare and services. So, in this lecture, I have tried to talk about the designing of posters and different kinds of publicity materials like pamphlets, flyers, banners, and newsletters. And I hope that the discussion will be helpful for you in your future design, and that you will learn the different kinds of design templates so that you can design your own materials and promote your organization. After all, as a management employee, you will be valued not only for the administrative services you provide, but also that you can provide good quality advertisement for your organization, and you can talk about your organization and market its needs, because after all advertising is needs based, and you need to fulfill that need for more and more patients and customers to come to your organization so that you can address their healthcare issues. So this basic creation of all different types of promotional materials fulfills the need for advertisement of the hospital where you are working. So I hope that this lecture has been useful, and it will be useful for you in creating these different kinds of promotional materials, and that you will use them to the utmost potential in your future career. So this brings us to the end of the lecture. Thank you.